I want to thank everybody for being here, touching base with us. We had a wonderful retreat over the weekend. So 4 of you were there. We had 14 people in our circle. So it was just the right size, not too big, not too small. So it was just perfect. And it was very relaxing and very quiet. And the first meditation on Friday night, somebody had fallen asleep. They were tired, and they were doing a lot of traveling. They were, they said they were going to lie down. And I said that's okay if there's no sleeping. And they said, no, they won't sleep. But you can tell by the breath, the changing of the breathing when people fall asleep, and some kind of light snoring, sometimes heavy snoring for some people, but it wasn't really a problem. And then at night, Saturday and Sunday nights, we have a sound meditation, and I invite people to lay down. And that can be a challenge because especially at the end of the day on a retreat, to lie down and not fall asleep can be really, really difficult. Now, I know for myself, if I would lie down and meditate, I would fall asleep almost every time, probably. Unless I did it in such a way that I was really on my back and I was really stiff, and I just had, I wasn't totally relaxed, and that's kind of a training in some Buddhist traditions for lying down meditation, is keeping the body real stiff and keeping, the ground touching the heels of the feet and the buttocks, the shoulders, the arms and the back of the head, really in those 5 spots. Otherwise, and just keeping really rigid so you don't fall asleep. But we didn't go through all that. I just invited people to, relax and enjoy that last meditation of the day on Saturday and Sunday. So people were falling asleep. You could hear them, but there was some kind of light music. And so it was kind of disguised, everything kind of blended in a little bit, the snoring and the music and that kind of thing. But the reason I'm saying that is because I wanted to talk a little bit about these stages of sleep and how they relate to meditation. And then when we do our meditation this evening, I will kind of incorporate those and see if we can get kind of a feeling of going through these stages while we're meditating. In our everyday sleep, when we go to sleep at night, there's 4 stages, and they're usually looked at, like if you would talk to somebody like somebody that would analyze your sleep, for example, they might talk about these 4 stages. And the stages are basically awake, and then light sleep, and then deep sleep, and then REM. So it's awake, light sleep, deep sleep, and then REM, rapid eye movement. Rapid eye movement is when we are, we could call it the deepest level of sleep. And when you see somebody's eyes are closed and their eyes are moving underneath their eyelids, usually means they're dreaming or in that rapid eye movement state where the dreaming does happen. And it can be a lot of dreaming if we're in there for a longer period of time. And sometimes people have little trouble staying down in that area. And that's where a lot of healing takes place for people. So the more REM sleep in that stage, the better for us. And usually we spend more time in there than we would in some of the other stages. That's not true with everybody, though. And more recently, these stages are being classified as NREM. In other words, NREM1, NREM2, NREM3, and then REM. So non-rapid eye movement, first stage, non-rapid eye movement, second stage, non-rapid eye movement, third stage, and then rapid eye movement. Sometimes they're talked about in that way. When I first started working with the EEG, I was completely blown away by it. And I would use the EEG daily, and I did that for several years. Hook it up to myself and hook it up to other people. I would use it to really look at the different brain waves that has everything to do with what I'm talking about here. And I would use the EEG for workshops. I'd go into a yoga studio, for example, a yoga studio. There weren't too many meditation places then, but more yoga studios. And I would do a workshop and show people the different brain waves and how it can be affected. Our brain waves are affected through meditation, that type of thing. And I also used it to have people come over to the center, and I would have them do like short meditations to kind of find the best meditation that might work for them for the purpose that we are discussing. So not discussing now, but discussing with, we could say, the client or the person that I'm working with. I would have them come over, then have them do like a metta kind of practice, or maybe a concentration type of practice, and just kind of see their brainwave patterns and what might be best. And then I could print that off and show it to them, and they can actually see, different areas in the brain waves in different areas of their meditation. So it's very interesting. And I still have the EEG. I don't use it nearly as much, but it is something that has really helped my meditation practice, I think. And if you want to you can find on YouTube, there's a couple of videos of me with the EEG, and you can see the screen and that type of thing if you're interested in this process, if you've never seen it before. And the reason I mention this is because the brain waves have everything to do with sleep pattern. They have everything to do with our awakenedness, and they have everything to do with who we are and what happens when we meditate and what happens when we fall asleep. And there's some real similarities there. Like right now, I'm using what are called beta brain waves. I'm talking and I'm conversing and trying to get my story straight, and searching for names and stuff like that. So it's very conscious thinking, very conscious. I'm digging in the back of my mind for information that I learned a long time ago, to do this little presentation, I guess you could call it, if you want. And so it's very conscious work. And if I was hooked up to an EEG, little electrodes, on the head, the beta brain waves would be very, very active. The other brain waves would show up. In other words, the next set of brain waves is alpha, and then there's theta, and then delta being the lowest. And these series of brain waves really kind of go in conjunction with the awakened state, the awakened state of sleep. And where the consciousness, we're very conscious, we might be laying there and going, oh, I hope I sleep good tonight, and our head hits the pillow, and we might be laying there for 10 minutes and then we drift off to sleep. There would surely be some beta brain waves sparking at that moment. But there would also be the alpha, theta, and delta would also be included. But when we think of being in a certain brainwave state, it's like more so of this and more so of that and more so of that. Now, when we get down to the alpha brainwaves, they're very manipulative. We can we'll do some experimenting with that here when we meditate. I just decided, and I'll see if I can get you to experience the alpha brainwaves. There's several different ways to do it, and you can they'll probably feel very familiar to you. These things that we'll do, and you might be kind of surprised that you will be able to spot the alpha brainwaves that are happening to you. It's almost like a sensation, and they're so manipulative that when people talk about using the EEG to control things, like to turn the curtains on, open and shut, for somebody that's has a disability that they can't get across the room to close the curtains, they can do it with their mind because they can relax to a certain extent, and the alpha brainwaves can trigger things. They can trigger light switches. They can trigger little motors. They can trigger wheelchair motors and things like this. And so the studies go on and on and on, and the possibilities go on and on and on too, for somebody to actually be able to, work equipment with their mind. It seems far-fetched, but it isn't that far-fetched, especially when we look at using alpha brainwaves. Now, theta brainwaves are a notch below, and they're not very manipulative. I worked at it for years and years and years to try to get into theta and stay there for lengths of time, just by clearing the mind. And the one of the problems is, it's not a problem, but if we were looking at a chart trying to manipulate the theta brainwaves, there would be too much activity for the theta brainwaves. If we are in deep concentration, no hindrances, no desire, no fear, no anger, none of these things. In other words, if we were kind of in a jhana state, a lot of you know what jhana is. It's just a deep concentration state. If we were in deep concentration, we would more likely be looking at theta. And this can be likened to stage 3 in our sleep, in our sleep process too. And then when we go from theta down to delta, the lowest brain wave, and we can liken that to the REM, the rapid eye movement sleeping. And those are the slowest brain waves. They show up when we are, asleep. And if somebody's doing a sleep study on us, they would be working primarily with those delta brain waves. If you've ever had a sleep study done, you would have gone into a clinic at night when you sleep, unless you sleep during the day for whatever reason, work purposes or something like that. But normally you would go into a sleep study place at 9 o'clock or something like that. You would find yourself in a bed. They would hook you up to your EEG, and they would sit and watch this chart of you sleeping at night to find out and compare that with the body movements and things like that. And so these brain waves and these sleep patterns and the subconscious and the conscious part of the brain are all in conjunction. They're all working in the same way. And this is true with meditation as well. So we can go, as long as we're sitting and we have energy, we can experience these different brain waves. But if the only one that we might not be able to experience fully like we would in sleep is, of course, delta, because we would be sleeping, we would be unconscious, and we wouldn't have any recognition, of being in any kind of state at all. Our body wouldn't function at all. It would be just a subconscious state. So it's very interesting. So before further ado, let's do a meditation, and I will guide you through to the best I can of these different states, and have you do a few experiments, a few exercises that might help you experience these particular feelings that can come along with these states. So please make yourself comfortable and gently close the eyes. If you were looking at a brainwave chart, when you close your eyes, you would notice immediately that the beta brainwaves die down considerably. Because when your eyes are closed, you're going within. You're taking your attention from the outer world and going within, especially if you're in a quiet room, especially if you're comfortable and it's not too cold or too warm, and in a comfortable posture like you are now. So if you're comfortable and it's quiet, your eyes are closed, there are fewer and fewer delta or beta brainwaves happening. And you can kind of trust that that is the situation right now. And that's actually good. These brainwaves are, again, the conscious thinking mind. And this is the mind that gets in the way many times of our meditation, can get in the way of our relaxation and our sleep. When we're worried, it's difficult to turn this off. Just take a few nice, even, little bit normal, deeper than normal inhalations and exhalations of the breath, and just kind of feel where you're at here, keeping the eyes closed. I'm going to ask you to do something that we probably haven't done all day, maybe haven't done all month, or maybe all year for some of us. But I'm going to ask you to relax your tongue as much as you can. You're not going to be using it. You're not talking. You're not eating. You're not chewing gum. I want you to relax your tongue and feel that relaxation all the way down your neck, all the way down the throat. The tongue muscle is quite long. It's 12 to 16 inches long for most people. And when a person is hooked up to an EEG, an electroencephalograph, by relaxing the tongue, you can actually notice that there's more alpha brain waves being triggered. And see if you can feel a different sensation. Just sit with this for a while, relaxing the tongue. In almost all cases, you're firing a lot of alpha brain waves. Another way we can fire increase the alpha brain waves is keeping the eyes closed. Gently look up as if you're looking at your eyebrows, as if you're looking up into the heavens. It's like if somebody's praying, they're oftentimes looking up into the sky. And again, if you're hooked up to an EEG, more than likely there would be a great deal of alpha brainwaves firing by turning the eyes up in this way. It's just firing something that might seem artificial, but it gives the sensation, which is very, very prominent, of this, what some people might call the alpha state. but it's just simply using more and allowing more alpha brain waves to be present. Try this a few times. Interestingly, when hooked up to an EEG, this really is only effective uh, in a kind of in a great way, only effective maybe 3 or 4 times by doing this. And then the mind kind of takes over and says, this is not exactly the deep relaxation that you could be doing. Now, the theta brain waves are very difficult to manipulate. But when we feel as if we go to sleep and we are conscious, and then there is that place of unconsciousness that we kind of fall into. And if we could teeter on that razor's edge between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, we would notice more of an involvement in the theta brain waves, and also a deep concentration. If we're focusing on our breath, no desires, no anger, no doubt, and we still have energy, which allows us to stay more active in the mind, we would notice that there's more theta brain waves. The deeper the meditation, the more alpha and the more theta brain waves appear. Now, if we were going to continue down into the area of delta, we would really have to use an example of somebody falling asleep. And in meditation is a dynamic practice. There's energy behind it, and there must be energy, otherwise we will sleep. And then it's no longer meditation, from the point of view of a practicing meditator. It can be very, very beneficial. We drift off into the delta area of delta brain waves. When we fall asleep, especially in the area of the rapid eye movement, we notice an increase of the delta brain waves. And these are very, very slow brain waves, but very prominent. Faster the brain waves, more consciousness as we go through theta and alpha and theta, and then down into delta, they become slower and deeper. Now, I'd like to guide you through a meditation. I'd like to see if you notice maybe some different stages. Now, I'll kind of make some light suggestions of what you might be feeling during this meditation. With the eyes closed, I want you to imagine that you're sitting just as you are right now, but you're in a nice, cool, safe, beautiful forest. The temperature is perfect. There's a nice, cool breeze. Everything seems that it's in perfect order. You're wearing the right clothes. The light is perfect. It's a nice clear sky and the sun is shining through the trees from up above. The air is very, very clean and fragrant. And you're just happy to be here. And you're very comfortable sitting in this posture in a forest. Now, seeing yourself in this forest, as you meditate, you notice that in front of you, that there is a very, very calm forest pond. When you look at the pond, it's protected from the wind. So it almost looks like a mirror, like glass, maybe. Because it's so still. And when you look at the edges, it shows a reflection of all the trees around this pond. It's very beautiful, very calming, very relaxing. So when you're sitting in this forest next to this pond, you have no worries, nothing to worry or even think about. There are no problems here. Absolutely 100% safe. There's nothing here that will harm you. And actually, everything that is in this environment can only help you awaken more from any unawakened state that we might feel that we are a part of. Now, even though you feel completely relaxed in this area, I want you to notice the breath. And then every time you exhale, I want you to relax very, very deeply. Relax the shoulders when you exhale. You breathe in, and breathe out, and relax the neck and the arms. Breathing in, breathing out. Relax the torso. The chest, the stomach. As you exhale, relax the hips into your cushion or chair, whatever you're sitting on. Let this relaxation move down into the thighs and even into the knees of the legs. Then as you exhale, let this relaxation move into the shins and the feet. Just check and see if the entire body is completely relaxed, but yet contains energy so that you can support your posture. And every time you exhale, just go a little bit deeper into the meditation. Go a little bit deeper into the concentration. You're in a very, very safe environment. You're very happy to be here. Your body's completely relaxed. Now I want you to bring your attention to nothing but the breath. Coming back to your old friend, the breath. Find that one spot in the body or on the body that you connect with when you think of using the breath as your meditation object. Keep your attention on the breath. Notice the relaxation quality of the body. We'll sit in silence for a while. I want you to notice if you go off into what might be considered another state, like something that is almost sleep. See if you can just kind of hang on to that for a while consciously to see how it feels for you. But don't lose sight of the breath. Don't let the breath itself get too far away from the picture. can notice the mind going back and forth between conscious and aware thought and knowing to the subconscious, where it gets a little fuzzy, a little shaky, perhaps, or things that you don't really remember that come to mind. These things too can be useful. Kind of take a look at where you might be in the area of your meditation at this point. Do you feel like there's a lot of conscious thinking going on, or do you feel as if there's some relaxation or even deep relaxation? Or right before I was speaking, did you notice that you were kind of in a state of daydreaming? Not much control over the thought, and where you could possibly head off towards sleep if you were lying down. And then as we bring ourselves to, in other words, coming out of this meditation, I generally ask people to take a nice deep breath and kind of gradually go from maybe these deeper states into an alpha state, perhaps. And do that now. Take a little deeper than normal inhalation of the breath. And do this 2 or 3 times. This is kind of bringing yourself back into this room. It's kind of like waking up from a sleep without actually going into that sleep. And then if you like, more of a conscious effort, bringing our hands together in front of our hearts. May each one of us and all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to us. May no difficulties come to us. May we all meet with spiritual and worldly success. And may we have the patience, the courage, and the understanding to meet and overcome any problems or difficulties that we might face. Coming out of our meditation. Thank you so much. And the reason I mentioned bringing us out of these stages from sleep or from delta, theta, alpha back up to this, what we could be really looking at as this beta state, because that's exactly what we do when we go off into sleep and then we come out of sleep. If we wake up, or if somebody wakes us up when we are in REM sleeping, rapid eye movement, we wake up really, really groggy. And it's very difficult to, get our bearings straight and find out where we're at, and we actually wake up tired because we're coming out of that lower state. Same would be true if we're meditating and we're in this very deep state and all of a sudden there was a loud noise, for example. We would be startled. We wouldn't quite know where we're at. Same kind of thing. If we were woken in non-rapid eye movement number 3, or what could be considered like a deep sleep, we would be very groggy as well. So naturally, we want to go down into deep sleep and come back out on our own. Wake up normally, wake up refreshed. In the same way in meditation, we want to start off with very conscious effort and very conscious intention of why we're meditating, and go into the deeper meditation and then come back out the same way. That's why I kind of bring people out of meditation gradually and have them take a deep breath, that kind of thing, and then just kind of get their bearings, invite them back into their room, and then maybe do a little metta, that kind of thing. So there are very, very similarities, between meditation and sleep, particularly if we're lying down, and different stages. And I think it's useful to keep that in mind. If we're very, very tired and we sit in meditation, we wonder why our head is bobbing, because the body and the body and the mind are wanting to go to sleep. And if we're very, very tired, like Bhante Gudarantana says, if you're tired, while you're meditating, you should just probably go to sleep, rather than fight it, and then try meditating when you're a little bit more alert. So I want to thank everybody, and always remind you that if there's something I can help you with, please let me know. And we'll leave it at that. Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And
Thanks, Terry.
Good night, everybody.
See you Wednesday. All right. Thank you.